controller of budget, currently, particularly, Agnes Odhiambo did a very good job as the first controller of budget. The current controller of budget, Mr. Speaker, and I will bring questions on that. The current controller of budget is not doing a serious oversight. So I think this is a very good motion going forward, and you have given us a timeline, more time to the leader of majority, but I think chairs of committees must bring reports. We are hearing of, we must get a report from IPOA, we must get a report from JSC, we must get a report even from the Parliamentary Service Commission. That is why they are created. They are called commissions and independent offices. And they are discussing the Constitution between Article 248 up to Article 251. So I think the leadership in the House Business Committee going forward, under the leadership of our able Speaker, we must create a particular week to discuss all reports of all these commissions. Look at, like EACC, how many people have been prosecuted, how many people have been charged, how many files have been returned. We go to the DPP. It is only Parliament, and they're only answerable to Parliament in terms of budget and in terms of appreciation. I support the motion.
I think we surely need a break. Let's have a Honorable Chepkut. That is probably the last one. Honorable Chepkut.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to support the independent. During our first session, His Excellency the President said that as legislatures, our role is to protect, defend, and uphold the supremacy of our constitutional institution and its constitutional independent bodies. One is IPOA, just to mention a few. But I just want to say, we have confidence. We have confidence with our majority leader that if he puts the questions, let Honorable Mbandi, leader of minority, second. That is in order. That is, I am in agreement with that. So let's proceed. Put the question now. We have confidence. Yeah.
We surely needed that break to also recover from what we are doing. So I put the question now. Order, Honorable Chepkut. Order. I put the question which is that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 97.4, this House orders that each debate on report of constitutional commissions and independent officers be limited as follows. Maximum of 4 hours with not more than 30 minutes for the mover in moving and 10 minutes in replying. Maximum of 30 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of majority and minority party, and the leader who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and priority shall be given, should be accorded to the chairperson of the relevant committee, the leader of majority party, and the leader of minority party in that order. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Many as of a contra opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 16, procedural motion, limitation of debate on the annual estimates and committee of supply.
Honorable Speaker, I'd like to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 97.4, this House orders that each speech in a debate on the report of the Budget and Appropriations Committee on budget estimates contemplated under Standing Orders 239 and 240 be limited as follows. Number one, on the general supply debate, a maximum of 3 sitting days with 30 minutes for the mover in moving and 15 minutes in replying, a maximum of 15 minutes for each of the chairpersons of the departmental committees, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of the majority party, a leader of the minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, and the respective chairpersons of the departmental committees in the order that they appear in the second schedule of the standing orders. And in the committee of supply, a maximum of 6 sitting days for the consideration of the proposed allocations to the respective votes and programs in the order specified in the schedule submitted by the Budget and Appropriations Committee. Honourable members, you'll note that, again, Parliament, our main job is really the appropriation of funds and supplying, in terms of where it will be applied. And hence, we are allocating 9 days, 3 at the committee, at the general supply debate, and then within the committee of supply, where the individual committees who defend their or present their budget, there's a maximum of 6 days. Now, traditionally, and we have seen that this interest waning, people used to agitate for more time to be given, and on the 6th day, you actually have a guillotine for anything not debated. But in the last 3 years or so, you found that after 1 day, there's even a cutting of the debate because there's not interest. And then we are not sure whether money has been allocated to the various departments to service our people. And even when we then go to interrogate it further, because if we don't interrogate at the allocation, then it becomes very difficult to interrogate at the implementation. And hence, I would like to ask members again, this particular year, as we go towards setting the standards for the 13th Parliament, and also looking at what has happened in the last 4 years, that we actually put more time in debating for this budget cycle. Again, this is very important. I would have asked the Honorable Aisha Jumwa to second, but I realized that she has left. So allow me to move and ask the Honorable Kawira Mwangaza to second. Oh, it's not Kawira. Oh, yeah, you see. No problem. I want to ask the Honorable Sankok to second. I think the mask is changing.
Thank you very much.
Because I thought of Kawira because she's in house business. But, yeah.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable the Majority Leader, for giving me this opportunity to second this procedural motion. And Honorable Speaker, it is a very important motion, and I do second. Thank you very much.
That's all you required. So I will propose the question, which is that pursuant to Standing Order 97-4, this House orders that each speech in debate on report of Budget and Appropriation Committee on budget estimates contemplated under Standing Order 239 and 240 be limited as follows. The General Supplies Debate, a maximum of 3 sitting days with 30 minutes for the mover in moving and 15 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 15 minutes for each of the chairpersons of departmental committees, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of majority and minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and a priority shall be given in speaking shall be accorded to the leader majority party and the leader minority party, and the respective chairpersons of the departmental committees in that order, in the order they appear in the second schedule to the standing orders. And 2, the Committee of Supply, a maximum of 6 sitting days for the consideration of the proposed allocations to the respective votes and programs in order specified in the schedule submitted by the Budget and Appropriation Committee. Leader Minority wants to say something.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I really didn't wish to say much about this matter, but Mr. Speaker, there's something that I wanted to clarify on this whole issue of seconding and moving. It should be understood that procedural motions are actually a product of House Business Committee. So the reason why the leader of majority moves and then the leader of minority seconds is because it is assumed that we are the ones who understand why the motions are necessary. That's number one. Any other member from the House Business Committee could second, but Mr. Speaker, for us to have a bipartisan support to procedural motion, it has been a tradition. It didn't start in this parliament, even in the last parliament, that was a tradition. So to save time, I think it's better just to have the leader of majority move. If the leader of minority is present, would second, and then that gives the impression that both sides of the House have supported the motion. The others, like the departmental committee reports, etc., any other member can second what the leader of majority. So I just wanted to clarify that. It's not that we are trying to load it over you as leadership of this House. It's just neat and tidy to do it that way. And I support. Thank you.
Yeah, you see, you'll have to understand that the Honorable Sankok is a fairly new member of this House. This has been going on for quite some time, really, between the leader, majority, and minority, as the case will be, because they will represent the entire, actually, as much as possible, they will be representative of the views of the House in a bipartisan manner. What is it, Honorable Limo? Are you...
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I'm not really standing to support my chair, Honorable Kikaria, but I want to agree with him somehow, Mr. Speaker, that the way the debate is going on in this House, especially the 12th Parliament, if you compare with the 11th Parliament, is totally different. The reason why is a bit agitated, Mr. Speaker, is that there is a tradition which has started here that the moment it is proposed and is seconded, is proposed by the majority leader and seconded by the minority leader, all the members quickly say put the question, and therefore they deny the other members opportunity to contribute. So I want to urge this House to make this House very interesting the way it was in the 11th Parliament. Let us allow ourselves debate so that we can debate the issues very well, so that we cannot deny the minority here who are quiet the opportunity to contribute. So I want to encourage members, let us not rush to put the question without contributing. That is my contribution.
You may applaud the Honorable Limo, but the truth of the matter is some of these things are basic and straightforward. I mean, if it is a question of limiting time, if from the word go we are talking about debate being limited to a certain timeline, really there is nothing much, in my opinion, that the members can add. Well, and if they really want to add, I would suggest even a better thing. If you really think there is something that you need to rectify, you can as well propose to amend it, or you reject it, really, because they are basic. So much as I agree with Honorable Limo, of course, that members must debate robustly, but also members must be keen to know that there are some motions that do not need unnecessary long, debate on it. So both sides, I think, are fairly correct. But I'll proceed and do what I'm supposed to do, which is to put the question, which is that limitation of debate, which is that pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 97-4, this House orders that each debate on the report of Budget and Appropriation Committee on budget estimates contemplated under Standing Order 239 and 240 be limited as follows. 1, the general supply debate, a maximum of 3 sitting days with 30 minutes for the mover in moving and 15 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 15 minutes each for the chairpersons of the departmental committees, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader, majority, and minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each. That priority in speaking shall be accorded to the leader of majority and minority party and the respective chairpersons of the departmental committee in that order. In the order they appear in the second schedule to the standing orders. And 2, the Committee of Supply, a maximum of 6 sitting days for the consideration of the proposed allocation to the respective votes and programs in order specified in the schedule submitted by the Budget and Appropriation Committee. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 17, procedural motion. limitation of debate on the Senate amendments to bills originating in the National Assembly.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97.1, this House orders that each speech in the general debate contemplated under Standing Order number 146, which relates to consideration of Senate amendments to bills originating in the National Assembly, be limited as follows. A maximum of 1 hour and 30 minutes, with not more than 15 minutes for the mover in moving, 15 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant departmental committee, and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, including leader of the majority party and leader of the minority party, if the bill is not party-sponsored, and at 5 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply, and further, that priority in speaking shall be accorded to the leader of the majority party and leader of the minority party and chairperson of the relevant departmental committee in that order. Honourable members, this relates to when we refer to a bill that originates in the National Assembly and affects counties, and hence when we refer it to the Senate and they make any amendments or whatever report they will give us, we don't expect a lot of debates on this because it's either they have agreed or not agreed with the original bill, and hence that's why the debate is being limited to a maximum of 1.5 hours to either agree with the Senate or disagree. If we disagree, it goes for mediation. If we agree, it goes for assenting. So again, it's a fairly straightforward issue here. And I noticed that the Deputy Whip of the minority has been very present in the House today. So I beg to move and ask that the Honorable Dr. Eseli second.
Dr. Eseli for seconding.
Madam Speaker, I second.
Very well. Now, members, I propose the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 97.1, this House orders that each speech in the general debate contemplated under Standing Order number 146, that is consideration of Senate amendments to bills originating in the National Assembly, be limited as follows. A maximum of 1 hour and 30 minutes, with not more than 15 minutes for the mover in moving, 15 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant departmental committee, and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, including the leader of majority party and the leader of the minority party, if the bill is not party-sponsored. And that 5 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply. And further, that priority in speaking shall be according to the leader of majority party, the leader of minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant departmental committee in that order.
Good.
Is it the mood of the House that I put the question? Yes. Then, members, it being the mood of the House that I put the question, I move to put the question. That pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 97.1, this House orders that each speech in the general debate contemplated under Standing Order number 146, that is consideration of Senate amendments to bills originating in the National Assembly, be limited as follows. A maximum of 1 hour and 30 minutes, with not more than 15 minutes for the mover in moving, 15 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant departmental committee, and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, including the leader of majority party and the leader of the minority party. That is, if the bill is not party-sponsored. And that 5 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply. And further, that priority in speaking shall be according to the leader of majority party, the leader of minority party, and chairperson of the relevant departmental committee in that order. Other members will, as many as of the opinion say aye, and as many as of contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next.
Order number 18, consideration of certain business received during the recess period.
Leader of majority to move. Leader of majority, give him the mic to move.
Honorable members, we only have two more, so if you could hold, we are getting to the most important ones. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Orders number 41 and 42 relating to conveying of messages from the Senate and from the President or the National Executive, this House orders that during the short and long recesses of the fifth session, 1, upon receipt of any message from the Senate or upon receipt of any name of a person nominated for appointment to a state or public office from the President or any other office in the National Executive, the Speaker shall forthwith refer such message to the relevant committee for consideration without having to recall the House and report such fact to the House on resumption. And 2, upon receipt of any message relating to the Senate's amendment to a bill originating in the National Assembly, the Speaker shall forthwith refer the schedule of the Senate amendment to the relevant committee for consideration pursuant to the provision of Standing Order number 145, Senate amendments to bills originating in the National Assembly, and report such fact to the House on resumption. Honorable members, you know that, Honorable Speaker, the members will know that traditionally every time we are going for recess, I move this motion to cover the period when we are on recess in terms of how business will be transacted, in terms of messages that are being received. And because this is a routine thing, what the House Business Committee decided is that we have one approval for the entire session, rather than have to keep on going through this motion every time we are going on long or short recess. So again, this is just fast forwarding what we do at the end, and that we do it upfront. And again, it's fairly straightforward. We do it every time. And hence, I would wish to move and ask the Honorable Owen Bayer to second.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Yes,
and I'd like to second. I think this is a fairly regular procedure in this House, that every time the House is in recess, we order that when the Speaker receives communication from the President of the Senate, then he can communicate that. So, Madam Speaker, I second. Thank you.
Very well. The motion has been moved and seconded procedurally. Members, I propose a question. Order. Order. Let me give the two members who abstained just time to resume their seat, if they so wish. I move to propose a question which is as notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Orders number 41 and 42 relating to conveying of message from the Senate and from the President of the National Executive, this House orders that during the short and long recess of the fifth session, 1, upon receipt of any message from the Senate or upon receipt of any name of a person nominated for appointment to a state or public office from the President or any other office in the National Executive, the Speaker shall forthwith refer such a message to the relevant committee for consideration without having to recall the House and report such a fact to the House on resumption. And 2, upon receipt of any message relating to the Senate's amendment to a bill originating in the National Assembly, the Speaker shall forthwith refer the schedule of the Senate amendments to the relevant committee for consideration pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 145, that is the Senate amendments to bills originating in the National Assembly, and report such fact to the House on resumption. Honorable Member for Kitutu Masaba. I put the question? Well, you know, you must listen to the House. And Honorable 001 is very good at shouting, put the question. And he's not the only member here, so I must get consent of the House. Order, order. All the other members are keen. Members, I move to put the question, which is that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Orders number 4142 relating to conveying of messages from the Senate and from the President of all the National Executive, these House orders that during the short and long recess of the 5th session, 1, that upon receipt of any message from the Senate or upon receipt of any name of a person nominated for appointment to a state or public office from the President or any other office in the National Executive, the Speaker shall forthwith refer such a message to the relevant committee for consideration without having to recall the House and report such fact to the House on resumption. And 2, upon receipt of any message relating to the Senate's amendment to a bill originating in the National Assembly, the Speaker shall forthwith refer the schedule of the Senate's amendment to the relevant committee for consideration pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 145, that is the Senate amendments to bills originating in the National Assembly, and report such fact to the House on resumption. Order members, will as many as of this opinion say aye? Aye. And as many as of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 19, motion. Approval of the calendar of the House for the 5th session, 2021.
Again, Leader of Majority for order number.
Yes. Honorable Speaker, and for the attention of member, this is your most important approval today. So I would ask that you pay attention. I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 28, this House approves the calendar of the National Assembly regular sessions for the 5th session 2021, which is contained in the schedule, and that schedule has been attached to your order paper, and further resolves as follows. Variations during the first part of the session. That notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order number 30, during the first part of the session, which is the period running from yesterday, which is February 9th, to May the 6th, 2021, number A, the sitting of the House of Wednesday, February the 10th, 2021, afternoon, which is today afternoon, shall stand suspended. Number 2, all Wednesday morning and afternoon sittings will stand suspended with effect from February 17th, that is from next week. So no sittings at all on Wednesdays. And then C, the House will hold sittings on Tuesdays and Thursdays as follows. On Tuesday, in the afternoon, from 2:30 to 6 p.m. And on Tuesdays, a second session, an evening session, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. On Thursdays...
Leader of Majority, I know you've been here since morning and you've done a great job, but I can see the passion that you have to move and for the members to understand exactly. But when we are moving, please just do it, read the text as it is, and then I'll have time to explain to them. And thank you.
Thursdays morning from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Number 4, Thursdays afternoon from 2:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And 5, Thursdays evening from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Individual members' business, which is number 2, that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order number 43, on Thursday mornings, business not sponsored by the majority party, the minority party, or a committee shall have precedence over all other business in such order as the House Business Committee shall determine. And commencement of the 6th session, number 3, that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order number 27(1), providing for the date of commencement of a new session, the House shall resume for the 6th session on Tuesday, 25th of January, 2022 at 2:30 p.m. Honorable members, I just want to highlight a few things so that we appreciate what we are about to approve. And the first one is approving our calendar, which we will basically state, and it's in 3 parts. one that runs between yesterday, when we sat last, going all the way to 6th of May, when we expect to have a long recess. Then it has a second part, which again moves from June to the time we go for recess in August. And then we come back in September and eventually go for the long recess on 3rd of December. So because we are still under the COVID regulation and threat, during the first part, which is basically between now and end of May, pending further information on what the conditions will be like, the House Business Committee decided that we meet only on Tuesdays and Thursdays to allow for Wednesday for time for fumigation of the chamber, and during that time, members who also do part of the committee business. But you realize that even as we, from our own experience in the last 1 year, when we only meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we only have 3 sittings. And if we dedicate 1 sitting to private members' bills, we are only left with 2 sittings. We are sitting on close to 100 bills. And members will remember that we saved all the bills, petitions, and all that from the previous sessions. We have only 1 year. And if we are to continue as business as usual, we will find ourselves with your bills will never have time to be discussed. The discussion the Honorable Limon was asking that we need to have more members speaking will not take place. So what House Business Committee decided to do, and in keeping with practices elsewhere in the House of Commons, in the Congress in the US, is to create an extra session so that on Tuesdays, we'll start from 2:30, and at 6:30, that being the afternoon session. Members will then have a half-hour break, and then start another session from 7 to 9. So that members who are busy in the afternoon sorting out their constituency matters in offices will have an opportunity to then come at 7 and be able to transact business between 7 and 9, while also allowing for the traffic to ease rather than stick all the time in the jam. So we want to create that extra 2 hours on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and especially also to dedicate part of that to transacting your private members' bills and some of the things that we need to fast track. You also know that this being the year just before elections, people will start wanting to concentrate on constituencies. So if during this first part, we can load most of the bills between now and May, then as we finish the budget cycle in June, July, we can at least relax, so we give members more time to be out there. So it's a bit of sacrifice that we are asking, and by also giving members an opportunity to transact business in the evening, which currently we don't do. So we end up with 5 sessions. The evening session is a light one. It's only 2 hours, but it's a session all the same. And we will at least be able to allocate all the business that we have and finish as much as possible. The other thing I just wanted to mention is obviously that this session, you remember, this session we started yesterday on the 9th of February. But next year being an election year, we need to gain some 2 weeks. So we will start earlier, which is the 25th of January, because we need to move forward all the budget processing, because with the elections in August, you really want to, and also we need some 60 days before August for members to go and do their campaigns, etc., the final recess. So it's important that we actually do fast track most of the business, and including coming back earlier from recess next January. So that in a nutshell is the new calendar, and it's something we thought through it, and we believe it's in the best interest of members and the House to at least optimize on the time that we have between now and in the new year. So Again, I want to ask members that you agree with the House Business Committee. We've done this in your best interest and in the best interest of the country to ensure that we transact as much business as possible. We're also giving you maximum time to choose between the 3 sessions or the 2 sessions in the day to allow you to at least be present, and also to give as many members as possible an opportunity to be seen in the House contributing, because we are going to an election and your electorate will be watching for you. So the more time we give you, the more exposure we give you to articulate the issues relating to your constituency and also for the country. So again, I beg to move, and on this one, allow me to ask the leader of the minority to second, because it's a weighty issue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to second this motion and just say the following. Number one, I think the leader of majority has articulately explained that Wednesdays, which should have been a preferred sitting day for us, actually I've been sharing with some of my colleagues, and Wednesday would have been better than Thursday because most members would want to start traveling to the constituencies. But then, Wednesday, we have been advised that since COVID-19 is still around with us, we need that day to fumigate. And so we would sit on Tuesday, have Wednesday for our staff to do what is the best in our interest, and then have Thursday sittings. Now, we looked at the life of this parliament, and I want to thank the membership of this House. The 12th parliament, contrary to perception out there, I think in the year of COVID, when we had a lot of challenges, it is clear that we passed and have had 23 bills assented to into law. That is just one bill less than what we did the previous year. So the other year it was 24, last year it was 23. And this year we are likely to do even much better. So we did not underperform even at the time of COVID. But in the previous, before COVID, we used to sit in this chamber for 12.5 hours in a week. On Tuesdays, we used to sit for 4.5 hours. On Wednesdays, we used to sit for 16 hours in a week. We used to sit for 4.5 hours. On Tuesdays, Wednesdays, we used to have 2 sittings, cumulatively about 6 hours in the Wednesday, and then 4.5 hours on Thursday. That cumulatively brings us to about 16 hours. Madam Speaker, if we don't create more sittings for Tuesday and Thursday, we will be sitting very few hours in a week. And therefore, we looked at this matter as a House Business Committee and felt that we need to sacrifice, given that this is the most critical session of the 12th Parliament. The next session, which is the 6th session, starting in January, you will see very few members will find time to come to the chambers. That has been the tradition over the years. Therefore, creating 4 hours on Tuesday, which is 2:30 to 6:30 p.m., and then on the same Tuesday, we add 2 more hours, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., have 3 hours on Thursday morning, have another 4 hours on Thursday afternoon, and 2 hours on Thursday evening gives us 15 hours, just about 1 hour short of our regular sittings. And so, Madam Speaker, I want to just plead with this House to agree with the House Business Committee and create these extra hours. I know in the evening people would find it not very easy to be present in the chamber. But again, Madam Speaker, that is what happens everywhere in the world. You see how the Congress sits, even the Senate, or the American Senate is now sitting to transact business of impeachment, and they do it even up to night. And those are very old people. And weekends, sometimes they come. And you look at them, Madam Speaker, you get inspired because they look very old and tired, but they still find time to sit in the chambers and debate and do duty to the nation. Most of us, Madam Speaker, here are less than 60 years. This House is a very youthful House. I would urge that we use our strength and energy to give more time to what is important, because the Constitution under Article 95 gives us the responsibility to resolve, debate and resolve issues that are of concern to the people of this country. This is not a sacrifice that we cannot, this is a sacrifice that I feel we can afford to give to this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I second.
And with that, members, I propose the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 28, this House approves the calendar of the National Assembly, that is regular sessions for the 5th session 2021 as contained in the schedule, and further resolves as follows. Variations during the first parts of the session, that's one, that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order number 30, during the first parts of the session, February to May 6, 2021, A, the sitting of the House of Wednesday, February 10th, 2021 afternoon shall stand suspended. B, all Wednesday morning and afternoon sittings will stand suspended with effect from February 17th, 2021. C, the House will hold sittings on Tuesdays and Thursdays as follows. 1, Tuesdays afternoon from 2:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. 2, Tuesdays evening from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. 3, Thursdays morning from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. 4, Thursdays afternoon from 2:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And 5, Thursdays evening from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Individual members' business. That is 2, that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order 43, on Thursday mornings, business not sponsored by the majority party, the minority party, or a committee shall have precedence over all other business, in such order as the House Business Committee shall determine. Commencement of the 6th session. That is 3, that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order number 27(1), providing for the date of commencement of new session, the House shall resume for the 6th session on Tuesday, January 25th, 2022 at 2:30 p.m. I put the question? Yes. I'm cleared by the House for me to be able to put the question. And members, I move to put the question, which is that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 28, this House approves the calendar of the National Assembly regular sessions for the 5th session 2021 as contained in the schedule, and further resolves as follows. Variations during the first part of the session. 1, that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order number 30, during the first part of the session, that is February 9 to May 6, 2021, A, the sitting of the House of Wednesday, February 10th, 2021 afternoon shall stand suspended. B, all Wednesday morning and afternoon sittings will stand suspended with effect from February 17th, 2021. C, the House will hold sittings on Tuesdays and Thursdays as follows. Roman 1, Tuesdays afternoon from 2:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Roman 2, Tuesdays evening from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Roman 3, Thursdays morning from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And 5, Thursdays afternoon from 2:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And 5, Thursdays evening from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. On individual members' business, under 2, that notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order number 43, on Thursday mornings, business not sponsored by the majority party, the minority party, or a committee shall have precedence over all other business, in such order as the House Business Committee shall determine. Commencement of the sixth session. That is under 3. That notwithstanding the provisions of Standing Order number 27-1, providing for the date of commencement of a new session, the House shall resume for the sixth session on the Tuesday, January 25th, 2022 at 2:30 p.m. Honourable members, will as many as are of this opinion say aye? Aye. And as many as are contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Members, this brings us to the hands of the business, which we had for the morning as in order paper. And now there being no any other business, and members, the time being 11:45 a.m., this House stands adjourned till tomorrow, Thursday, 11th February 2021 at 10 a.m. Thank you.